Alright guys, so this is going to be the second video in the Topic Talk series. This one is going to be on plateaus, how to break plateaus, and some things you should consider. The reason I want to talk about this one is because it's something I've dealt with in the past, and there's a few variables or factors that I really considered that really did help out. And a lot of you guys have been asking questions about plateaus, and it's generally pretty broad question like, hey Nick, I've been lifting for 2 months, I hit a plateau, what should I do? And without me being your coach or being there talking you through it and looking at all the things or factors that might be affecting that plateau, it's really hard to answer it specifically to every single person. So hopefully this video helps you guys out and you find it very helpful and you can incorporate it into your schedule and then break that plateau. Okay, so there's 4 considerations when you're trying to break a PR or break that plateau, and the 4 considerations I look at and try to incorporate into my schedule or my routine are nutrition, volume, variation of exercise or placement, and then recovery. Okay, so the first consideration to keep in mind is in regards to nutrition. Are you eating enough to maintain or gain and make progress in the gym? And there's definitely people that have made progress and broke PRs and broke plateaus while in a deficit. But the deeper and the longer you're in that deficit, the more unlikely it is for you to break these plateaus, make PRs in the gym. So optimally, you would be in a maintenance period or a slight surplus, an abundance of energy going into these workouts. In the event that you're in a deficit, what I would advise you to do before going to max effort days is to either do it on the day of or the day after your refeed day. I've done this in the past and it works out very well. You feel a lot better going into those workouts. Now, I also track my food. You don't have to track your food. Not everyone has to track their food to make progress. But you gotta be mindful of how much you are eating to make sure you're eating enough. So when I was in college and I was in these counseling classes, what I used to do is have people track their food for either a 3, 5, or 7 day interval so you can get their estimated average calories per day. Because there were some people that thought they were eating 3,000 calories, they were actually eating 2,000 calories. And then the same people that thought they were eating 3,000 calories were actually eating 4,500 calories. So being mindful of how much you're eating on a daily basis and eating intuitively can really help if you're not tracking your food to maintain that maintenance period or that surplus. Alright guys, so in my opinion, the most important part of breaking a plateau, breaking a PR is total volume and tracking total volume. So over time, your volume should be increasing, and I'll break it down kind of like in a graph using the screen. So the bottom part of the screen is going to be time. From left to right will be an increase in time, and the left part of the screen will be total volume. So from bottom to top will be an increase in volume. Your total volume over time should look like this. So it should be a positive correlation. That positive correlation essentially is your strength, your gains, your size you're putting on. It's going up. It's increasing. Now, if you keep volume the same over time, it's going to be flat. So obviously, you're still going to make gains. You're still going to get a little bit stronger, but not to the magnitude you would if you were consistently adding volume over weeks, months, and years. So there's a few different ways you can increase volume in a workout over time. The main one, and I think the most effective one, being frequency. So hitting that exercise, adding more volume by doing that exercise itself more often. So instead of maybe doing a squat once a week, doing it twice a week, 3 times a week, but increasing that volume slowly over time so it's a gradual increase. If you can't increase frequency, and obviously you're not hitting a PR, you're at a plateau, you're not increasing your weight, you can increase reps and sets. So an increase in volume is critical to making progress in the gym and breaking past these plateaus and PRs. So if you're not tracking your volume, that's something else you can do other than tracking your food and your nutrition. Tracking volume so you can look at an objective chart and say, all right, last month I had this much volume, 2 months before that I had this much volume, my volume now should be right here in order to keep making success. Okay, so the third is variation. In my opinion, variation is probably the most fun to mess around with. Volume might be the most important, but variation is a close second. And this is one of the reasons I love the conjugate method so far, is because it has variation exercises already built into the program to improve on your weakness. So what I mean by variation in regards to breaking plateaus or PRs is, say for example, the deadlift is your problem exercise and you're getting stuck either off the floor or at the top. There's different variations of the actual exercise itself and other exercises that you incorporate into your program to work on your weaknesses. Now, this can range from using bands on the deadlift from a deficit. You can switch up conventional and sumo. You can incorporate completely different exercises that work on those weak points. And small variations such as just moving foot placement on the squat. So rather than doing a narrow stance today, do a wide stance tomorrow. And these small variations, improving on your weak points within your physique, within your lift itself, can ultimately help break past these PRs, these plateaus, and they can be very effective. All right, and the last one is recovery. So ensuring you have a proper recovery system in place, whether that be 1 or 2 days off a week or a deload every 6 weeks or however you want to do it. But generally, a powerlifter or someone doing strength training is going to need more time off than someone doing like a bodybuilding approach. Just because your central nervous system becomes more taxed with the more max effort lifts that you're going to be doing. And a lot of people, as soon as their joints start hurting or they feel tired and fatigued, they think they're overtraining. And that's just overreaching sometimes. And you need to overreach so that your recovery system can adapt. Your recovery system is trained just like your muscles do. They adapt, they adjust, and they grow to be able to handle more volume over time. So sometimes if you don't have a powerlifting meet coming up in the near future, or there's no set competition that you're training for, it's okay to overreach, it's okay to overtrain a little bit, allow your recovery system to adapt, and then take some time away. And then keep in mind, there are some passive recovery techniques you can do, so ways to almost increase your body's ability to recover. So sleep is like the major one that I'm sure you all know. There's myofascial release, there's massages, there's ice baths, there is just plain stretching. All of those techniques can increase your body's ability to recover on its own. So those are just some ways and some things to consider. If you're hitting a PR plateau or a plateau in general, keep those factors in mind, and also keep in mind they don't all act independently of one another. So maybe there's 2 of those factors that are affecting you right now. Adjust one variable at a time and experiment to see how it affects you. Maybe it's that one. If not, try something else. But incorporate these factors over time and gradually to either break your PR or plateau, and then hopefully they help. So let me know if you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you are new, and I'll talk to you in the next video.